Today we're here with Mireille. How you doing?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Mireille Rock. I love to cook. Cooking is my passion as well as my profession. I cook at a nursery school in Harlem, and I also work as a personal chef and caterer.
Okay, so what are you going to make for us today?
Today I'm making a South Indian food. So we're going to do tamarind shrimp and something called Plaintain Podimas.
Okay, so let's get started.
Okay, so first we're going to start with shrimp. So this is just a pound of shrimp that's been cleaned and deveined, and we're going to set it to marinate. So we're going to take some chilies. Now these are hot Indian chilies. They're called bird's eye chilies, but you can also use serranos as a good substitute if you can't find these type of chilies.
Okay.
So we're going to marinate it, and I put the seeds and everything all right in there.
So a nice little kick to it.
Yeah.
That'll work.
And then we're going to crush a couple of cloves of garlic. Side. Get all opened up. And I maybe just half them once. This is just to marinate, so these things you're not going to cook it, so you don't have to worry about someone biting into some huge clunk of garlic. So you just do that so that they're a little bit crushed. You put that in. And then we're going to season it with turmeric and ground coriander. Turmeric is pretty much basic in all Indian food, and it's a natural digestive, so it helps people digest food, so it's very good for you.
Oh, okay.
And it also adds color that just makes it pretty.
Gotta have it pretty, right?
You gotta have it pretty. And here, so that was 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric, and we're using 1.5 teaspoons of ground coriander. And coriander is basically from the same plant as cilantro. It's the spice that comes from the same coriander plant. It's only in America and like Latin America that we call it cilantro. Europe and the rest of the world calls it coriander. But it's the same thing. And 2 tablespoons of lime juice. So you want to let this marinate for at least an hour just to get all the flavors in. I prefer we also do a little bit of grated ginger. I prefer to let it marinate overnight. Overnight is fine. Sharpener's kind of dull, but it's okay. I think we're going to go with the knife. It's fine. Just get all the skin off. Some people say you could leave the skin on, but I really don't like the skin. So you're just going to go ahead and you're going to grate the ginger. Make sure you get all that skin off. And we're going to grate. So do you eat a lot of Indian food?
I've had it a while ago, a long time ago. I remember, I thought I could handle the spices because I like spicy foods. And let's just say it caught me off guard.
Okay.
But, because it was something I was eating. I don't know what it was, but it was 3 different spices. One was green, black, and I don't know the other color. Now by itself, you know, it doesn't do
Oh,
much,
those are the chutneys. Those are the chutneys.
Yeah,
so the black one would have been the tamarind chutney.
Right.
The green one would have been the coriander chutney, which is basically made from cilantro. And the other one was probably mango.
And as soon as I tasted it, just water. All I saw was water. That's it.
So basically, you just want to mix it all together. So everything is well coated with the seasonings. And that's it. And then you just, you know, cover it and you stick it in the refrigerator and let it marinate. So we're going to start to get this going, and then we're going to start on the plantain dish, okay? So I like using mustard oil. Mustard oil has a great flavor and not a hot spiciness, but just, you know, a nice tang to it, to the food that it's put in. It gives you that mustard flavor. Now, if you can't find mustard oil, it's very easy to make yourself. Just take canola oil or whatever, put some mustard seed in it, and then bring it to a boil. Let it cool off and drain out the mustard seed, and you can make your own mustard oil. It's really very simple.
Okay.
So we're just going to let that heat up for a hot minute. And make sure the oil well coats the pan and it's hot. So we're going to add onion. Not quite hot. We'll let it sizzle. So while that's happening, actually, while we're waiting for that to heat up a little bit, why don't we start on the plantain Podimas? So basically, you take green plantains, you simply cut them, and you boil. And you first, though, you bring the water to a boil. Get some water here. So we're going to bring it to a boil with a little turmeric. Again, it's going to give the dish that nice color, and it's also good to digest it. And plantain is a great alternative to use as a starch as opposed to white rice, which is more traditional. Because first of all, white rice is just really processed and has no health benefits whatsoever to it. Where plantain, it's really high in potassium, it's high in fiber, it's much more filling.
Okay.
So it's a much better alternative to use for your starch as opposed to rice. Okay, this is starting to sizzle now. So we just want to have them get translucent. We're not looking to do a saute on them. And once that water with the turmeric comes to a boil, you just go ahead and you boil the green plantains for exactly 8 minutes. Exactly 8 minutes. The reason I say that is that you don't want it to get too soft, because then we grate them. And if it's too soft, it's just going to turn to mush. So I actually have some that was already boiled already, so we're going to start to grate that, okay? So just take off the skin. Green plantains are pretty hard to peel when they're ripe, but that's kind of why we boil it with the skin on, is that it's much easier to peel when it's already cooked. Did I say ripe? I meant raw. It's still a little bit hard, it's not like the yellow ones that come right off, but it's still a little bit easier. There we go. But usually we just think of frying them. Caribbean people fry them, Spanish people fry them. Even Africans. There's this dish I've made before. It's from Ghana. It's called kelewele, and it's really great. You actually marinate the plantain in chili and ginger and a bunch of spices, and then you fry them.
Okay.
It's really good too.
Sounds like it would be.
Okay, let's just see how our onions are doing. Just let them go a little bit for a few more minutes. Oh, my eyes. I'm feeling the onions. They're cooking. Are you feeling it?
Nah, not yet.
Really? I'm really sensitive to the whole onion thing. I
Really?
start crying so much. It's really bad.
We got plenty of tissue for you. Don't worry.
It's really bad. Sometimes it gets to the point where I can't even see.
Oh, damn.
There's just so much tears in my eyes. So you just go ahead and you grate it. We don't want any big chunks. And you see, that's why it's important not to overcook them. You want it just so they're not completely raw, because this dish, you still stir fry it over.
Okay.
So it's still going to get some more cooking, and so that's how come you don't want to overcook it. And I mean, this is a lot of ingredients. It may seem like Indian cooking, but really, the biggest time-consuming part was probably peeling the shrimp.
Oh,
And
really?
really, it's a lot of ingredients, but you just put it together, and it cooks actually quite fast. Don't want to scratch off my finger. So that's pretty much it. You know, so there you have the plantain all grated. Let's check on our onions. Okay, our onions are pretty much nice and translucent now. So now we're going to add the tomatoes. So this is just one chopped tomato here. And then you just want to let that go for a few minutes. All the juices, the sweetness, and the acidity will come out of the tomatoes, because that's what's great about Indian food and a lot of other Southeast Asian cuisines. It's that mix of flavors. It's sweet, acid, spicy, all together. So that's what we're trying to create. Okay, so that's going, and then what we're going to do now, the tamarind part, we're going to get all the rest of the ingredients ready for the shrimp. So this is basically tamarind water now. And what it was 2 tablespoons of dried tamarind pulp. So this is what tamarind pulp looks like. Just take a couple of teaspoons, put some boiling water, let it sit for 10 minutes or so, and then you have tamarind water. So let me get a spoon here. And you want to just kind of take it out, but you want to kind of squeeze it a little, make sure you're getting all the tamarind flavor out of it. Now, I don't know if you've ever had tamarind, but tamarind is very, very bitter. It's very, very bitter.
Okay.
So to balance that bitterness, what we do is we add a sweetening agent. So traditionally in Indian, as opposed to sugar, again, you want to try to stay away from white processed sugar. They use something called jaggery. So it comes in these little blocks, and it's been pure sugar cane that's been boiled down and then solidified. So it's much better for you, and then you just grate it when you want to use it, and here's some grated jaggery. So we're going to add that to the tamarind, and that way you're going to have that balance now of the bitterness from the tamarind, but then you have the sweetness from the jaggery. So it's going to create that balance in the shrimp. Okay? And then just get a little bit more of our ingredients ready for the plantain while we're waiting for the juices to release here. Just let that cook for a few minutes more. And so we're just gonna chop this chili. This is gonna go into the plantain dish. And we're gonna also grate some more ginger. A clean bowl, yes I do. So here's your chopped chili. I like to make sure to get all the seeds in because you want the heat. I like the heat.
Okay.
If you don't want the heat, you can remove them, but that's boring.
Keep the heat.
Keep the heat, and then we're gonna use some more ginger. Again now, gonna grate some more. So that's going, so that's pretty softened now. So now we're going to add our tamarind water. So you're just gonna scrape out all the insides. Get all that goodness and let that come to a boil. Okay, you see how that's boiling in the back now? Now it's boiling. You would put in your raw plantain and let it cook for exactly 8 minutes. And then once this comes to the boil, we're going to add our shrimp. You know, shrimp cooks really fast. So I'm going to go ahead and grate some more ginger. Do you like ginger? I love ginger.
I've never had it by itself, so...
Well, no, but have you ever had like ginger
no.
chicken
No,
and
ginger
Asian
chicken,
restaurants
no.
and things like that?
Actually,
They
no, I
have them.
haven't.
I used to think I hated ginger as a child, actually, because my mother loves ginger, and she would put it in everything that it would overpower it, and I used to hate it. And then I realized that I liked it.
That's usually how it is when you really hate like everything.
Because it just would overpower everything. She puts it in orange juice.
Really?
Yes.
How did that taste?
Not good. She buys ginger candies.
I take it you don't like them.
Okay, so we have our little bit of ginger here all grated up. We'll get that juice in. Sorry, it's a little bit messy right now. So now, okay, this is not boiling, so we're gonna wait. So we're gonna start the plantain juice. Again, I'm using mustard oil. You could use regular oil, but I just like the flavor it brings to it. So here's a little mustard oil. And we're gonna let that come to the heat. Now in this dish, there's no onion and garlic. And that's because in some parts of India where they're strict Hindus, they don't use onion and garlic because they believe it has aphrodisiac qualities. So what they use is asafoetida, which is a natural spice, and it kind of has the same kind of taste that onion and garlic would bring to the food. Oh, really? So I'm going to use a pinch of asafoetida in this to give you, so you see what it's like, a dish with that South Indian onion and garlic, but then you also see the alternative. Okay. Okay? So that oil is pretty much heated, so we're just going to add the chili that we chopped. Ginger here, a little bit of asafoetida, okay, and the mustard seeds. So the mustard seeds are going to start to pop. See how they just started popping? They always do that. Once they pop, you know it's ready to start adding the rest of the ingredients. So here we have some urad dal and chana dal. Chana dal is yellow split peas, and these are black lentils that have been split and their skins removed, so they look white. And it's going to give you that little bit of crunch, which is going to add texture to the dish. Let that cook up a bit. You don't want them to get too brown because they're going to burn. Like in the Caribbean, they have fried the yellow split peas where they fry them and they eat it as a snack. Kind of like peanuts or something. Oh, yeah? So people are used to eating them fried. But you don't want them to burn. So once that's all there, we're going to add, before we add the plantain, we're adding some curry leaves. So what most of us think of as curry is actually a made-up word by the British, but these are actually what curry leaves are. And it has kind of a neat, licoricey taste. So we just want to fry them just a tad. Can you smell it, the curry leaves? Yeah. That smell is really strong. And then now we're going to add the plantain. You're just going to stir fry that for a few minutes so that all the spices and the curry leaf flavor can get into the plantain. Okay, so now that that's come to a boil, we're going to go ahead and add our shrimp. Now I don't dump it in because I don't want the huge chunks of garlic, so I just am taking the shrimp from the marinade. Get all of these. And all those flavors are going to be in. So, and you want to do that until it gets just pink. Then to finish off both of these dishes, we're going to use cilantro or coriander. So, just give it a quick rinse. It can be really sandy, so trying to wash in between it really well. And so we're going to just chop this up, and this is going to finish up both dishes. And it's okay to have some stems in there too. The stems add flavor. Just want to check on those shrimp because you know, shrimp, if they overcook, they just get really rubbery and not a pleasing taste. Okay. Have this finished. And this Plaintain dish is really dry, which actually is very good because then you have this great sauce from the shrimp, so it's going to soak up that dryness. The last thing is to add our green peas. So this is just a cup of frozen green peas that have been defrosted for a hot minute in the microwave.
Right.
So we're going to add that, and we're going to add some coconut powder. Now you can also use grated coconut, but this is finer. So I find, you know, sometimes with grated coconut and foods, it could be kind of dry going down. I like the powder. I find that the taste is a little bit milder. And we're just going to put 2 tablespoons of that. And let's stir that up. And that green peas is going to add that little bit of sweetness. Like I was saying, you already have the spicy, you have the ginger, you have the chili, and now you're going to get that spice, that sweetness from both the green peas as well as the coconut. Big chunks of cilantro, but a lot of people find it overwhelming. So I want to chop it pretty fine, but again, cooking is subjective. If you like it, leave it coarse, you know. And so we're going to finish both with about a 1/4 cup of cilantro. And I find, like, especially with the shrimp, because it was marinated overnight, with all those amazing flavors, like, salt is barely needed. Yeah. I try not to cook with so much salt, but when I'm serving it to people, obviously I use a little more salt. Finish it off. Season it with a little bit of salt. And that's all done. Once everything's heated through, all those flavors are blended, you're done. The shrimp's all cooked, you're done. So now we're gonna serve it. Okay, so now comes, I think, the part you've been waiting for.
Of course, that's what I do the show
So
for.
you want to taste it. So here's your Plaintain Podimas. And then here, we'll get you a couple of shrimp there. And some of the sauce at the bottom. And that's going to wet it for you. And let's get a fork. And
thank you.
You be the
All
judge.
Right. Now for the best part of the show. Let's try the shrimp first. You could actually taste some of the. I thought it would be spicy. It's actually like kind of sweet. The
yeah, because it's all about the balance.
Yeah.
The balance with the chili and the tamarind and the jaggery, so nothing's overpowering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like but it tastes more sweet than anything. And now for the if I can get this on my fork.
Mm-hmm.
It all pretty much tastes sweet. Just the shrimp actually the shrimp actually tastes more sweeter than
Yeah, because part of it is the jaggery and just the natural. You have the green peas and you have the shrimp, etc.
Okay.
And you did all that without really sugar, but it's a great dish for kids too, to get them to kind of test out other cultures because it's really mild flavored.
Okay, so thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you.
All right.